In 2007, he came out with a reality show called Gotti's Way. And Gotti's Way was only 2 seasons, but those 2 seasons showed me an intimate view on what it looked like to decouple, what it looked like to attempt to co-parent, the differences between what mother felt that the family needed and what she needed as an individual, and what the father thought he needed to do to be a provider and to keep his family together.
To be with Irv, but then a part of me is like, you know what? I think I've outgrown you.
The women that you're with, you refer to them as scab.
Young Lad, Young Lad, Young Lad is a surviving Irv Gotti documentary set for release shortly, because his ex-wife is at last telling her side of the story regarding all that transpired with Irv Gotti and his purported relationship with Ashanti. He felt infuriated when Ashanti turned him down and refused to even give a working connection with him any attention since he couldn't get her name out of his mouth. Deb is stating today that his rude attitude and focus on Ashanti significantly ruined their relationship. And boy, did he have her pay for loving him and wanting to keep their family intact? Allow me now to dissect this.
There's no boundaries. Like, he comes, we're there, we're available. He's living too loud, and for me, it doesn't make sense.
You have found that woman. It might not have lasted, but you have
She's
found.
She's definitely a special one, but she wasn't special enough for me to.
Having spent more than 10 years together, Irv Gotti and Deb Lorenzo filed for divorce back in 2013. People often alleged of Deb that she was foolish for sticking with a man who treated her so horribly for so long. He publicly humiliated her in front of their kids, made fun of her schooling, and even advised their daughter to attempt to outperform her own mother. But according to Deb, things didn't start out that way at all. When she married Irv in 2003, she expected him to be traveling, signing deals, and making money while she held down the home and took care of their children. What she didn't expect was to deal with the revolving door of women that Irv routinely entertained. What made things even worse was Irv's attitude that he wasn't doing anything wrong, that Deb was insane to assume she could ever be the single woman to please him.
We were married, but we were separated when they were dating. I was used to it from the beginning, like him going and traveling. I just wasn't used to the women. That was like new, like, where did these hoes come from?
You know, I think...
You wanted people to forgive you and do stuff?
Don't talk about the cheat. I'm a good chip off the old block, aside from the infidelities. You know, in my crazy mind, I thought that was life. This is my wife, this is my family, but this bitch is here to suck my
Their relationship was highly dysfunctional, and we all got a peek of it when their reality TV, Gotti's Way, aired back in 2007. But despite everything, Deb still attempted to make things work, believing that Irv would change. She originally wanted to divorce him after learning his infidelity, but she had their kids to consider, especially their eldest, Sonny, who didn't want his parents to split. Irv was a terrific parent to their children. He even accepted Deb's daughter as his own and never treated her any differently than his own kids. In fact, Deb's baby didn't even grasp of wasn't her biological father until she heard it from someone outside their family. Still, Irv made sure their relationship remained strong. Even though he was constantly traveling, Irv made it a point to come home on weekends to spend time with the kids, attend school activities, and do all the things a dedicated dad should. But unfortunately, that merely gave Deb false optimism. Each time he returned, she believed there was still a chance to save their marriage. As for the women, they came and left. There wasn't anyone Irv looked truly attached to, until Ashanti. Ashanti became the princess of Murder Incorporated, with her songs hitting the charts and brand deals flooding in from every angle. Irv couldn't stop talking about the money and changes they were making, while Deb was alone at home raising their children. Eventually, he started spending more time in the studio, turning from a hands-on father to more of a part-time parent. Then, whispers started spreading that Irv and Ashanti were more than simply business partners. When Irv appeared on The Wendy Williams Show, he rejected claims that Ashanti was a homewrecker, insisting that they were in love and only got together after he and Deb had separated.
Why is it that if a man gets married, a man and woman get married, if they're separated, they're not gonna be together. They're not staying together. I can't mess with other girls until I sign a divorce paper. Why? Why?
Yes, you can.
Okay, then what's the problem?
But the truth is, Deb and Irv's relationship only took a turn for the worse when Irv and Ashanti started getting a little too close for comfort.
She used to wear these juicy sweats and her ass was looking great. So one day, I was like, yo, I'll take you home. She said, bet, cool. I walk her to a front door of her crib. She turns to say goodbye. And I just kiss her and grab her ass. And just...
It grew much worse when Ashanti dumped him and moved on with Nelly, a predicament Irv never seemed to recover from. Since Ashanti refused to give him the time of day, he allegedly began taking his wrath out on his wife, Deb. Irv didn't hide his beliefs about Ashanti, and his behavior with Deb grew increasingly hostile, even in front of their children. It was as if Deb had become his emotional dumping ground. To make matters worse, she and the kids were entirely financially reliant on Irv. Deb didn't have a steady career or enough money to move out and start over, and Irv, of course, knew that and took full advantage of it.
It's the fear and like, can I survive on my own? I feel stuck a little bit, and I've been like this for a while. I stayed this long because I was afraid. You know, when we first separated, I really thought Irv would come back home. I thought we would work things out. And then as time goes on, you see it's not going to...
Before Irv declared that he and Ashanti were connected, everyone assumed she was either seeing Ja Rule or C. Santana. But when he openly stated to millions that he was the one in love with Ashanti, it was like he flung the gates wide open.
Made those records. You know what I'm saying? Like, she wrote them, but she wrote them with the help of me telling her what to write. And all of y'all who ever know me, I don't lie. I'm not a liar. I'm gonna spritz it up and jazz it up. Is the camera?
Yes.
Ashanti, you cannot sprit up, you cannot jazz it up. The minute you put some spritzy and jazz it up, it's not a cover. So when it's not a cover, now it has to come back to me to clear.
He also got more daring in talking about the other women he had been with in Hollywood, even alleging that he was one of the ones who gave Karine Steffans the label Superhead. Irv made it apparent that he felt entitled to cheat with as many women as he wanted since, to him, it was all part of the game. It was one thing for Deb to suffer with his adultery when just a few people knew about it, but after he put it on blast for the whole world, without a second consideration for their family and kids, she understood their marriage was truly finished. So, she packed up her belongings, went, and never looked back. And that was the best decision she could have ever made, since Irv never stopped messing around. At 48, he was still talking of having a crazy ride or die who would have his kids and allow him do whatever he wanted. And as for Ashanti, he kept hooked up on her to the very end. Now, people have a lot to say about Deb's revelations. Irv Gotti beat the feds and won $1 million money laundering trial, but instead of recounting that narrative, he chose to brag about sleeping with Ashanti 20 years ago. And they say women respond on emotion, yet here's a man who performed 32 interviews about a woman who hasn't even wrote a syllable about him. But what I really want to know is, how do y'all feel about all of this? Sound off in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, since you know the drama never stops. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, baddies.